Hi, it's Jason Perico, here to tell you about Bianchi Honda's Model Year End Sales event going on now. Lease the 2017 Honda Accord LX Automatic sedan for $219 a month with no money down. That's right, no money down and only $219 a month. Stop in today because these year-end deals are going fast. Now we have it, and soon we won't.
Back live, hour number 2. Time now for the Gannon Golden Knights Coaches Show. He is head coach Brad Rzyczycki. Coach, how's it going?
Going okay. Alex, how are you?
Doing well, doing well. Nice practice today, or what?
I'm never going to come in here and say anything different.
All right, fair enough.
Hey, the Indians won earlier today, so I'm in a good mood. It's 100 wins.
100 wins. I really like their chances. They look good, and they're trending back upward at the right time. I said earlier, I'm not going to say it's a good thing that they've lost some games since the streak, but it kind of is, because then you're not riding that emotional high. But let's talk football.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
You got Mercier's coming up this weekend. I don't have to tell anybody anything about that program because everyone listening knows all about it. This is the rivalry. Gannon coming in at 1-3, Mercier's at 2-2. Let's talk about the game last week. You went up against ranked Slippery Rock, and it was a shootout. What if I told you before the game there was going to be 94 total points scored?
I don't think I'll ever believe you in any game we're going to play that there's going to be 94 points scored. I think that's just because I'm a defensive coordinator at heart, and I don't expect that many points to be scored. But there's been games that we thought would be a shootout and ended up being low-scoring games. Those things just happen, the rhythm of the game, and their quarterback got hot, and so did our running back, and kind of dictated what the amount of points scored during the course of the game. So. You've
had some really good running backs. Mark Jones has gotten quite the long look in his time here, and he's made the most of it, every chance that he's gotten. I mean, nobody's looked more impressive than I've seen here.
Yeah, and as much accolades as he's getting now, the kid's as good a kid as I've ever coached as a person, so you love that about him. I think some of the comments and the attention he's gotten this week and how he's answered some of this stuff was saying, hey, if coaches went out and asked me to block the entire game because the passing game was there, I'd do it in a heartbeat. And that's the type of kid you're looking for. That's where you're heading in the right direction, and you want those kids to lead your team because that gets around to the rest of the kids on the team where he's so unselfish. And even though he had 354 yards or something like that during the course of the game because of what they were doing schematically, we just kept on feeding the beast at that point in time. But if we went out and threw it for a ton of yards and he just had under 100 and blocked the entire game, I think as long as we won, the kid would be happy because he's not happy that we didn't win the football game. I mean, that's a heck of a feat, and I don't think it'll sink in for him till after the season's over. But he's more consumed with winning ball games than personal stats.
Yeah, but if it was personal stats, he's got to be happy that he has to be leading the entire NCAA in yards. Maybe Division 1, 2, or 3. I mean, he's got to be at the top.
Dan Telesky's shaking his head yes, so I'm assuming he's the stat man.
Unbelievable, and then this was a school record on Saturday.
I imagine so. I know we had a game where Brock Jones had over 300 yards against somebody, but I think he eclipsed that.
All right, tell me about your quarterback, Jimmy Keefe, in that game. He made that one really nice throw to Nico Law, but he certainly didn't lose you the game.
No, he's played, you look for progress with the quarterback that's taken over in the middle of the season. And from game 1 to game 2 where he's been in there, you definitely saw a lot of positives. He did a good job of getting us into the right run calls, too. And we put a little bit more on his plate than we did in the Bloomsburg game, and he got us in the right calls, and we're going to continue to give him more as long as he can handle it through the course of the season. But I thought he threw the ball better. He limited his mistakes, and our whole thing was we didn't want to turn the ball over. So he didn't have any interceptions, and we didn't give the game away in that respect. So I thought he managed the game really well, and it helps when your run game's going like that for any quarterback.
It also helps to have Tyler Palka doing what he's doing right now. I mean, very important, especially with Jimmy Keefe in there, less experienced redshirt freshman. It's got to be big to be able to bring him off the field and talk to him.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's some things in there for Palka to go out there and do that we scheme up every week. No matter who is our quarterback. And he's very capable of going out there and handling the entire game. He's a threat running the ball, too. Jimmy's not obviously as fast as Tyler, so he gives us a different dimension, but he's smart enough to go and play our slot receiver, our outside receiver, Tyler, and get himself open and understand where he's got to go. So he's a threat in that respect. And you can call him a wildcat quarterback or whatever, but we're trying not to ever take him off the field right now.
That specific throw to Nico Law, my jaw just hit the ground. back corner of the end zone. Not a lot of guys can make that throw. That's a big league arm.
Yeah, it was his third read too, so that's what you really like.
Wow.
You know, he didn't lock on. The first one was taken away. He got to the second one. They had someone in the flats, and he had to throw it to his one-on-one over the top, and he threw it outside and high. The only place that it could get caught was out there, and Nico made a great catch on the ball and separated from the corner over there. So yeah, it was progress, definitely. Even the one he threw the post on our final drive where we stalled out, you know, that was a good ball too, and a second read that he had there. So yeah, there's progress there, and we're looking for him to take another step this week.
You've seen several editions of the Slippery Rock team. Is this one of the top ones you've seen as a head coach?
I don't know if I should comment on that. I mean, they had a really, really good experienced defense last year, and they have some young kids playing defensively right now. I think it's the best offense they've had to this point. Their ex-receivers really, really good. I know 10 down there has gotten a lot of accolades, but that outside receiver was making some plays, and we're all over him. Even the other one, the Z receiver that they have on the other side. But I know they're breaking some kids in defensively right now. So those kids will probably get experience as the season goes on. But offensively, yes. Defensively, we've seen some better ones out there.
After this game, your team has to know they can get stuff done offensively. They can go down the field. They can drive on just about anybody in the country. So I don't imagine that you have a down locker room right now.
No, not at all. The thing with me is I've seen progress from these last 3 games. There's not a lack of effort. We've done things to beat ourselves. I think Saturday got us a little trouble with special teams. I think if total-wise, you can say we gave up 15 points on special teams, and Slippery Rock didn't. It was the difference of the game. And I was talking to someone today. We were 3-1 at this time last year. We're 1-3, and we probably maybe have a better team this year right now for what we're doing. We lost some close games this year. Obviously, Saturday was a tough one for us, but the year before we won some games in overtime. So I think there's belief in there, and obviously this week with who we're playing, I don't have to sit there and get them riled up. The atmosphere is going to be what it is on Saturday. But no, those kids, they've never lacked effort, and that's what you're looking for as a head coach. And things will turn our way one of these games. And we just need to win one, and I think once that happens, this thing will start rolling.
PSAC hasn't gotten away from you. Obviously, you're just 0-1. So, I mean, what point would you start to sweat?
I don't know. I've been doing this long enough. There's other things that you're consumed about. I want to win. I mean, that's why I do what I do. The kids want to go out there and win. But getting better and making sure there's effort out there, those are important too. I mean, we had – beyond the game last week, we dedicated the game to American law enforcement to make sure that we were identifying to our kids the importance of people out there doing the right thing and protecting the general public. So there's things outside of it too, Alex, that are very, very important to me. I'm probably the most competitive person I know. I probably have a terrible reputation around with other coaches just because when we lose, I don't handle it that well. You could say it's a weakness in my life, but I'm coaching football, and that's what I'm paid to get out there and do. But yeah, we need to win. I think we're all wanting it right now, and there's a desire to have it in that locker room. And I want it for the kids. I felt terrible for them on Saturday, as much as they poured it out there.
Might be the perfect time to take on a rival then, because a win against Mercyhurst would mean big things. But you got to play the game. So how are you going to do that? How are you going to win, Coach?
Yeah, well, we can't beat ourselves first and foremost. We've done that, I think, with whether it's turnovers or special teams mistakes during the last 3 games here. So that's first and foremost, protect the ball and make sure we're executing and knowing our assignments. You win the game on Tuesday through Friday of what we're doing in practice and, dummying down for what potentially we wanted to run, both offensively and defensively, and make sure that we're assignment strong because the atmosphere is going to be crazy on Saturday. We want to make sure that our kids can play within themselves, but I don't want them to run from their emotion either because this team that I have right now, when they're playing on emotion, they play better. So I don't think that'll lose their focus, but I want to make sure that we're assignment strong so that we go out there, we don't overload them with scheme. They can play fast on Saturday. Mercyhurst is not going to make mistakes to beat themselves. They won these last 2 games that they've played because they haven't beaten themselves, and they've worked their way back into ball games to go ahead and win it against 2 really good football teams, in my opinion. So we'll have our hands full in that respect. So it's a great challenge for us. I mean, we've got to be able to find out what they're doing because if I'm sitting there and we just ran the ball for 399 yards of offense, I'm sure they're going to scheme something up, and their defense is playing really well. They give an odd and even front, and they do a lot of different things, and I'm sure it's not confusing for them because they always have kids in the right spots. So we got to figure out how they're playing us and then execute on offense and defensively. We've done a good job of stopping the run, but we got to make sure with all this play action, the different things that they do, that we secure up the pass game too and take care of the fullback out of the flats. And normally I get a lot of people ask me, how come we can't cover that fullback out of the flats? And I've watched Mercyhurst on film the last 4 weeks, and no one else is covering that fullback out of the flats because the run game is so good for what they do, and their quarterback is back for a second year. So we'll have our hands full. We got a plan going into it, but we're going to have to execute and understand our assignment on Saturday.
He is Brad Rzyczycki, head coach of the Gannon Golden Knights. They got Mercyhurst, 1 o'clock on Saturday. The game being played at Mercyhurst. Does that matter?
Well, it's their homecoming, I guess. Actually, I graduated from Mercyhurst, so I can probably get in the alumni tent or anything before the game or whatever.
Yeah.
So
you should take the team some food from the tent.
yeah, I should probably know a lot of people that are going to show up to the game on Saturday. So yeah, it'll be fun.
All right, throw out the record type fun. This is, they know you, you know them.
Oh yeah, it's always been extremely competitive the last 4 or 5 years. Ever since I became the head coach here, it came down to a Hail Mary. It went into overtime last year, so the games have been exciting to that point. I don't expect this one to be any different.
Okay, once again, it is at 1 o'clock on Saturday. Coach, appreciate the time.
Thank you, Alex.